Hola chicos y chicas, soy la señorita Alan aquí. Hello everybody, it's Miss Alan here, and this is the first of 3 lessons for Spanish that will see you through till the end of term. We're starting a new topic, and the topic is school. So treat this like a normal lesson, have your pen and paper handy. I want you to copy down the title, which is ¿Qué estudias?, which means what do you study, and I want you to write the date in Spanish. ¿Qué fecha es hoy? What date is it today? Pause the recording to do this. Vale, muy bien. El objetivo es to revise the present tense and be able to say 3 subjects that I study. Entonces, hoy vamos a repasar cómo se forma el tiempo presente. We're going to revise how to form the present tense. You did that a few weeks ago with one of Mr. Scognamilio's lessons. Vamos a aprender las asignaturas en español. We're going to learn the school subjects in Spanish. Y hoy vamos a aprender cómo se escriben las asignaturas. We're going to learn how to write and spell the school subjects. So lots to do. It'll fly by. Right, quick recap of the present tense. Looking at AR verbs in particular, you know that there's 3 sorts of infinitive in Spanish. You've got ER verbs, IR verbs and AR verbs, and I want to look at AR verbs today. Let's remind ourselves of the endings. We have to knock off the AR and we have to add O if I am doing the verb. We have to knock off the AR and add as if you are doing the verb. We need to knock off the AR and add a if he or she is doing it. We knock off the AR and add amos if we are doing the verb. If you all are doing the verb, we knock off the AR and add ice. It looks like ace, but it's not, it's ice. And then if they, whether boys or girls or a mixture, are doing the verb, we knock off the AR and we add an. Okay, so those are our present tense verb endings. Hopefully you've still got all of those jotted down from a few weeks ago. If not, pause the recording now and copy down this table. Okay, now the verb that we're particularly going to look at, which is an AR verb, is estudiar. Estudiar means to study. So let's try and form the verb estudiar. We know that the endings are as follows, as we've just been through them. So what I want you to do is, applying the rules, that you knock off the AR and add the correct ending. Try and conjugate means form, try and conjugate the verb estudiar. So write down the Spanish for I study, you study, he or she studies, etc. To get you started, I've done the first one for you. I study is estudio. I've knocked off the AR and I've added the O. Over to you. Pause the recording. Okay, right, let's whiz through the answers then. So we did the first one together. I study is estudio. You study is estudias. Muy bien. It's got that AS ending. He or she studies is estudia. We study is estudiamos. You all study is estudiáis. And they study is estudian. Muy bien, fenomenal. I hope you did do that properly, because it really is very, very effective and worthwhile doing these exercises. It will make a big difference to you when we come back to school in September. Okay, next. Estudiar means to study. We've just been through that. Looking down at all of your endings, which one of these, A, B or C, means I study? ¿Cómo se dice I study en español? Shout it out when you think you know. Muy bien, estudio. The answer was estudio, because it's got the O ending. It's always an O on the end when I am doing the action. Doesn't matter whether I'm a boy or a girl, it's always an O on the end. Next one. ¿Cómo se dice she studies en español? How do we say she studies? Look at your endings. Shout it out when you know. Muy bien, estudia. It was C, estudia. It's an A ending. When it's he or she and it's a verb, it's got an A on the end. Next one. ¿Cómo se dice you study en español? And it's singular because there's two forms of you. There's you singular and you all, which is the plural one. I want the singular. Is it estudias, estudiáis, or estudio? Shout out when you know. Muy bien, estudias. Perfecto. El siguiente, ¿cómo se dice he or she studies en español? He or she studies, estudio, estudian, estudia. Venga, estudia, muy bien. El siguiente, ¿cómo se dice they study en español? ¿Es estudia, estudian o estudiamos? Sí, estudian, muy bien. Y el siguiente, ¿cómo se dice he studies en español? Shout out when you know. Is it estudiáis, estudiamos, o estudia? Remember what I said about he or she? Shout it out. Muy bien, estudia. Perfecto. ¿Cómo se dice we study en español? Is it estudian, estudiamos, o estudias? We study. Muy bien, estudiamos. Get into the habit of remembering it's always amos on the end when it's we do something. It's always got mos on the end. Next one. ¿Cómo se dice you study en español? Pero ojo, atención, plural. Plural, it's the plural one. It's you all study. Is it estudiáis, estudias, o estudio? Perfecto, estudiáis. Muy bien. Ok. Esta vez, ¿cómo se dice they study en español? They study. Last on the list. It's always last when it's they. Is it estudiáis, estudian, o estudias? Muy bien, estudian. Estudian. Perfecto. Ok. Vamos a ver las asignaturas. Las asignaturas means school subjects. Here we've got 12 pictures of school subjects, and then on the right hand side we've got how you say them and spell them in Spanish. I want you to try and match up the pictures with the words. Most of them are cognates, and you know what a cognate is. It means that it's similar or the same word in English and in Spanish. So you shouldn't find this too difficult. Make a list of all 12. Write down the letter as well. Pause the recording to do this. Muy bien. A ver, entonces, las respuestas. The answers. Número 1, E. It was el inglés. Número 2, A. La informática. Número 3, C. La música. Número 4, D. La educación física. Número 5, B. El dibujo. Número 6, F. La historia. Número 7, H. Las matemáticas. Número 8, I. La geografía. Número 9, G. El español. Número 10, K. Las ciencias. Número 11, L. El francés. Y número 12, J. La religión. Muy bien, fenomenal. 12 sobre 12, espero. I hope that you got 12 out of 12. Don't worry if you didn't. And don't worry if you're thinking, gosh, Madam's saying all these words so quickly. We're going to spend some time now practicing how to say them and how to spell them. Muy bien. A ver, escuchad y repetid. Listen and repeat. Dibujo. Repetid. Dibujo. Muy bien. ¿Qué asignatura es? What school subject is that? It's art. Muy bien. One more time. Dibujo. Perfecto. Siguiente. Repetid. Inglés. Otra vez. Inglés. Muy bien. ¿Y qué asignatura es? Es English. Muy bien. Otra vez. Inglés. Repetid. Inglés. Muy bien. A ver. Educación física. Repetid. Educación física. Perfecto. ¿Qué asignatura es? Sí, PE. Muy bien. Ahora, música. Repetid, música. Muy bien. I don't want you to say musica. There's no mewing like a cat. It's mooing like a cow. Música, música. Repetid, música. Muy bien. ¿Qué asignatura es? Es music. Muy bien. A ver, las cuatro. ¿Cómo se dice en español y cómo se escribe? How do you say art in Spanish? Can you remember? Dibujo. Muy bien. How do you say English in Spanish? Inglés. Muy bien. How do you say PE in Spanish? ¿Te acuerdas? Do you remember? Educación física. So instead of physical education, it's education physical. Educación física. Muy bien. Y últimamente, ¿cómo se dice music en español? Música. Muy bien. Perfecto. Continuamos. Francés. Repetid. Francés. Muy bien. ¿Qué asignatura es? Sí, French. Repetid. Español. Otra vez, español. Muy bien. ¿Y qué asignatura es? Pues claro que sí, es Spanish. Muy bien. Ahora, repetid. Religión. De nuevo, religión. ¿Y qué asignatura es? RE. Correcto. Muy bien. Try and roll your R at the beginning if you can. Religión. Muy bien. Ahora, remember, a G in Spanish makes a H sound at the beginning. So I want you to say geografía. Repetid, geografía. Perfecto. ¿Y qué asignatura es? Geography. Muy bien. Entonces, las cuatro. ¿Cómo se dice French en español? How do you say French in Spanish? Francés. Muy bien. Repetid, francés. Bien. ¿Cómo se dice Spanish en español? How do you say Spanish in Spanish? Español. Muy bien. Perfecto. ¿Cómo se dice RE o religion in Spanish? Religión. Repetid. Say after me. Religión. Muy bien. ¿Cómo se dice geography en español? Geografía. Remember, it's a hey. Hey, geography. Hey, geografía. Bien. Y ahora, historia. Now I'm going to let you do something that your mums and dads probably don't let you do. I want you to drop the H. Instead of saying history, I want you to say history. Okay, but with Spanish accent, it's historia. Repetid, historia. Muy bien. I don't want historia or historia. I want historia. Put the emphasis on the O in the middle. Historia. Muy bien. ¿Qué asignatura es? Pues claro, history. Tecnología. Say the G like a H after me. Tecnología. Muy bien. ¿Qué asignatura es? Technology, it's tech. So you've got DT, food and nutrition, textiles, it's all under that umbrella. Tecnología. Muy bien. El siguiente, informática. Put the emphasis on the A with an accent on it. Repetid, informática. Otra vez, informática. Muy bien. ¿Y qué asignatura es? It's IT, claro. El siguiente, I want you to lisp the C at the beginning. Ciencias. Repetid, ciencias. Muy bien, ciencias. ¿Y qué asignatura es? Pues claro, science. It's science. It looks like it, doesn't it? Ok, las cuatro. ¿Cómo se dice en español history? En español, history es historia. Remember to drop the H at the beginning. Say after me, historia. Muy bien. ¿Cómo se dice tech en español? Pues es tecnología. Remember, say the G as a H. Tecnología. Muy bien. ¿Cómo se dice IT en español? Es la informática. Informática. Repetid, informática. Bien. ¿Y cómo se dice science en español? Muy bien. Ciencias. Repetid, ciencias. Bueno. Y ahora, repetid, matemáticas. Put the emphasis on the A with the accent on it. Matemáticas. Muy bien, repetid, matemáticas. ¿Y qué asignatura es? Es fácil, ¿no? Maths. Claro, it looks like mathematics. Next, teatro. Repetid, teatro. Muy bien. I don't want anyone saying teatro. It's teatro. Teatro. Repetid, teatro. Muy bien. ¿Y qué asignatura es? What does it look like? Teatro. Sounds a bit like theatre. So it's drama. Muy bien. Okay, I hope you have been treating this like a proper lesson and that you have been writing things down, writing down how to conjugate the verb and writing down the school subjects in Spanish, porque vamos a traducir en español ahora. We're going to translate into Spanish. So if you haven't got any notes to refer to, you're going to find it tricky and you'll need to go back and make those notes. Entonces, I want you to translate the following 8 phrases into Spanish. The way to approach it is to look at how to conjugate the verb estudiar and then look at your list of school subjects in Spanish. So number 1, I study Spanish. Find the conjugation of estudiar to make I study and then find the Spanish word for Spanish. And you're done. That's number 1. Okay, pause the recording to give yourself time to do this. Muy bien, vamos a mirar las respuestas. We're going to look at the answers now. So I hope you got on okay with that. Let's see how you did. Número 1. I study Spanish es estudio español. Notice that you don't need a word for I. It's all in the ending. The O implies that I am the one doing the action. The O on the end of estudio. Okay. Número 2. You, singular, study French. So that would be estudias francés. Again, you don't need the word for you. You could add in tú if you wanted, and it's not wrong if you have. If you've put yo estudio español and tú estudias francés, it's fine, but you don't need to put in the pronoun. You do in French, but not in Spanish. Número 3. He studies English. Estudia inglés. Again, if you've put él estudia, that's fine. Número 4. She studies maths. Estudia matemáticas o ella estudia matemáticas. Número 5. We study PE. Estudiamos, remember what I said, it always ends in mos if it's we. Estudiamos educación física. Número 6. You all, or you plural, study drama. Estudiáis teatro. Make sure you've got the accent on the ice bit. Estudiáis teatro. Número 7. They study science would be estudian ciencias. Muy bien. And then the challenge, my sister studies history. The reason it's a challenge is to see whether you remember how to say my sister. And the answer is, of course, mi hermana estudia historia. Muy bien, bravo, fenomenal. Okay, genius task. Can you remember the days of the week in Spanish? Write them down now. Pause the recording. And of course, the days of the week are lunes is Monday, martes is Tuesday, miércoles is Wednesday, jueves is Thursday, viernes is Friday, sábado, with an accent on the first day, sábado is Saturday, and domingo is Sunday. If you've got them right, brilliant. If you found it tricky, make sure you've got them written down now. Pause the recording if you need to do that. If not, we'll move on. Vamos a leer. We're going to read. Y responde a las preguntas en inglés. So we're going to read and answer the questions in English. Here we've got a little letter written by Carmen. And she's telling you all about her life and about what she studies. And I want you to answer the questions that are underneath. So I'm not going to give you any help. I'll go through the answers afterwards with you. It's quite a big text, but it's nothing that you can't handle. It's words that you already know, and take your time. Don't try and understand every single bit. Just try and get the gist of it. Buena suerte. Okay, let's go through the answers then. A ver, las respuestas. So these were the questions. And then the answers were, so what does Carmen say about where she lives? Well, she lives in San Sebastian and it's in the north of Spain. It's rainy and not very warm, but she likes it. If you got any of those, well done. Number 2, how many brothers and sisters does she have? She has 2 sisters and 3 brothers. Number 3, who does she say is a little bit silly? It was her brothers. Number 4, what does she study on a Monday? On a Monday she studies English, maths and science. Number 5, who studies IT on a Thursday? It's her friend Maria Teresa. And what day do her brothers study PE? They study PE on a Friday. Muy bien. Okay, para terminar, we're nearly finished. Okay, so to finish off, Carmen asks you what you study at the end of her letter. I want you to write a reply in Spanish, including what you study on which days. And the way that you say on whatever is you say los and then the day. So los lunes means on Mondays, los martes means on Tuesdays. I want you to add as much extra information as you can without using Google Translate, because we will know, okay? And write a little reply just like she did. Okay, so I want you to pause the recording now. Feel free to go back and look at what Carmen wrote to you so that maybe you can take some little bits out of there. Obviously, don't copy the whole thing wholesale because you don't live in San Sebastian and you might not have 2 brothers and 3 sisters. Your situation will be completely different from hers, but I want you to use hers as a bit of a structure. Okay, and then if you can, take a photo of it and upload it in the comments section of Show My Homework for me or for your Spanish teacher. Okay, well done. Pause the recording now to give yourself time to do that. Y terminamos ahora. So to finish off, just double check how comfortable you feel with everything that we've done today. Can you recall the present tense AR endings from memory? And if you can't, I'd really love you to learn them. So it's O, AS, A, amos, ais, an. O, as, a, amos, ais, an. O, as, a, amos, ais, an. If you learn that in your head, then you've learnt the endings off by heart. If you can recite that off, just chop, chop, chop. Okay, there's always 6 parts to it. O, as, a, amos, ais, an. And always learn it in that order. Okay, and can you list at least 5 school subjects in Spanish and say what you study using a full sentence? So could you say español, francés, matemáticas, inglés, educación física? There's 5 subjects. And could you say what you study using a full sentence? Could you say estudio, I study, estudio, español, francés, matemáticas, inglés, and educación física? Doesn't have to be those 5 subjects, could be any. That's what you need to make sure you can do by the end of this lesson. And feel free to go back and re-watch the lesson if you still don't feel confident. But very well done. Muy bien. Fenomenal. You've worked really, really hard. See you next time. Hasta luego.